Who is the true GOAT at bowling? That is a true question that I think about and have been thinking about lately, especially after EJ Tackett just winning his 25th PBA title.
9 pins for number 25. He's got it! Yeah!
And when it comes to bowling goats, you gotta look at all aspects of the game, and you even have to throw it all the way back a few years, decades, but you gotta throw it back because you have to pay respect. You gotta see where the game came from and where the game is at today. Now, when we start off with it, okay, when we start off talking about the GOAT debate, I gotta pay homage to where the game has come from and who helped elevate the game. And one of the greatest of all times, Walter Ray Williams Jr. I do believe he still holds the record of 47 PBA titles, 7 major titles, and for him to be able to do it over decades and still to this day, he'll go on the pro tour, and I believe he could compete. He could compete with some of these guys out here, even though he mostly bowls on a PBA 50. I believe he could compete with most of the guys, even with his two-handed style. Walter Ray has been a guy of consistency. That is the name of his game. Being consistent and shot making. That is what makes him such a legend and such a GOAT, as you could say. Next, we got to get into somebody that was dominant back in the 1970s and 80s. Even to this day, Randy Peterson, he'll bring him up. Even bowlers like Norm Duke and Pete Weber and all the older bowlers will talk about this man, Earl Anthony. This man was legit. And if you go back to watch the older tapes, yes, they're older, and yes, their technology and their bowling balls weren't like today's bowling balls. But back in that day, you had to have aim. You had to be consistent. You had to be locked in. You had to be that bowler that hits your mark and not miss, because back then you had like rubber, you had urethane, you had cover stocks and bowling balls that today we all would look at and be like, what? But back then, that's what they had, and they were bowling on wood lanes. And if you've ever bowled on wood lanes, depending on the pattern and depending on the day, it can get quite messy out there, or you can bowl your best because it's friction and whew, boy, wood lanes are a different breed. But Earl Anthony, 41 PBA titles, 7 major championships, and like I said, his precision and his smooth stroke. The way this man rolls the ball is beautiful, and his form is spectacular. I'm telling you, if you get a chance, take a look at this man's mixtape, his videotape. Like I said, a mixtape like this is a basketball video, but take a look at this man's performance and his sweet, sweet style. And I'm telling you, you'll get something from it. Now we come into the modern day. Who is referred to as the GOAT? None only than the Australian man himself, Jason Belmonte. We all know him for revolutionizing the game with the two-handed style. Now, I do believe it was Oscar Palermo who was the first person to be on a PBA telecast with two hands, but when Jason Belmonte came into the game, he truly took that to a new level and took that to new heights. I mean, he is almost like a bowling version of Stephen Curry.
What a bunch of fucking bullshit.
He has made younger bowlers go straight to the two-handed style instead of being one-handed. I don't want to say it's an easier style because you still have to have accuracy. You still have to be a good bowler at the end of the day. But for him to be able to manipulate the ball and be able to control his revs, control his speed, and he also has a beautiful form and a beautiful style that you can take so many tips from. Now, Jason currently has 31 PBA titles, and he also has a record 11 major titles to his name. Now we come to the part why I made this video. EJ Tackett is starting to become part of this conversation. He just won his 25th PBA title, and of course, he does have a long way to go to catch up with the greats of Earl Anthony, Jason Belmonte, Walter Ray. He has a long way to go, but the man has been making those strides continuously. The man has been improving year after year. I remember after the down year of 2020, was it 2020 or 2019? One of those years he was down and he just wasn't him. Or was it 2021? I can't remember, but one of those years he just was making TV shows and he just could not finish. But after that year, show after show, he kept on making his shows and he was finishing. He was winning championships, becoming player of the year. I mean, this guy, these past few years has been on a roll consistently, showing that the one-hander still can dominate in this day and age. Although the two-handed revolution has taken place, the one-handers like EJ Tackett are still in business. And one thing about EJ Tackett that sets himself apart is his mentality and his mental toughness. Like I said, he had a rough few years being able to make shows but not finish shows as champion. And if you go watch him live, if you go watch him at a PBA tournament during match plays and during blocks, you will see this man truly lock in and truly show that passion, show that aggression, show how mentally he is there on the lanes. Who is the GOAT? Who is the new age GOAT? Now, if we're talking old school, we're going to go ahead and go with Earl Anthony. If you're talking 2000s, 1990s, we're going to go Walter Ray. If we're talking modern day era, we're going to go with Jason Belmonte. But don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if EJ Tackett in the next few years implements himself as the new GOAT. Now, for the late 2000s, 2010s, I guess we can go ahead and put Jason Belmonte as that. You know, if we were going like NBA, you know, NBA says there's eras. You got the Jordan era, late 80s, 1990s. Then you got the Kobe era, the 2000s, and then you got the LeBron era, 2010s. And now we're in the Curry era. If we're gonna go like that, we might as well put, like I said, Earl Anthony, Walter Ray, Jason Belmonte, and now EJ Tackett. And y'all should have seen this video coming because I said multiple times, EJ Tackett is and will forever be my favorite bowler. Knock that on wood. Signed, sealed, delivered. He was the reason why I stuck with Moden for like the first 2 years. I would not bowl with any other companies. Now I bowl with whatever I can get my hands on. But don't be surprised if EJ Tackett in the next few years implements himself as the GOAT.